Oh yeah, sexy biscuits. Nice.
Longboy Bros 1975. A YouTuber is on the rise. Reviewing games and sometimes friends. But Longboy Bros 1975.
Hey YouTube, Long Boys Post 1975, and welcome to the Wednesday vlog. Now this is an interesting one because I was thinking about all of this last night when I was at work and what I was going to talk about and how I was going to talk about it. And see, I don't prepare for vlogs as such. I don't know, I think about it. If I get an idea, I think about it and try and just process it to come up with points, and then hope I remember the points when I stick the camera on and talk, because that's what works for me and I like doing stuff like that. But I couldn't really pin this down, so this is going to either come out right or be a complete clusterfuck of waffling randomness. Phrase got away from me. But anyway, 2HD or not 2HD, and how and why I make videos. Yeah, I don't know, I thought it was funny giving it that title, you know, Shakespeare and stuff like that. I got asked a question. This is a topic I've talked about, you know, touched upon very recently in my 5,000 subscribers special. Well, I wouldn't even call it a special. And did a video on way back in my first year. Basically, I got asked, how do you make your videos? You know, like what do you use to make them, and how important is quality? And you know, because I want to start a channel, and should I? You know, I've been looking around, and you know, do I have to do it in HD? Do I have to do it like that? And this is a point I want to make. First of all, when I first started doing my channel, I did it in 280. You know, 280. That's appalling. But here I still am 7 years later. So I guess you could argue that production value or quality is not necessarily key to longevity, which is what I want to get across. And mainly I'm just going to talk about how I make my videos, which is very low tech. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Disclaimer. As I found out when one of my videos went through the roof and just got a load of views, so many people, you know, I guess there was trolls or keyboard warriors, you know, saying, fucking hell, this quality now, no. And so, you know, this is what I want to get across, which is, I don't know, I think some people seem to think that there's a template or a perceived level of quality that videos have to be. They have to be TV, they have to be HD, they have to be this. Now, anyway, disclaimer would be, there is no right or wrong way to make a video. You know, I think there's this sort of attitude when it comes to YouTube that because we're spoiled from people right at the top of this amazing quality, and there are people at the bottom who have it, but I think somehow people seem to think that's a one-fits-all sort of solution. It should be like that across the board, and it only seems to be like that in social media. It's like things like, you know, money, time, job, commitments, things like that don't ever enter in it. It must look like this. I mean, in other walks of life, you could be like, you know, 2-bedroom house. I guess that's all they could afford. Or why has this person got a Fiat and not a fucking Ferrari? Well, I guess again that's all they can afford. But for some reason, social media, there's this stamp where everything should fit, you know, or equate to this specific template. And that's the point I want to get across to this person who, you know, says I want to make videos, and do I need to do this and do I need to do that? I think, and the reason I want to do this is I think, you know, thinking about starting up a YouTube channel now more so than ever, because obviously HD is standard now, but wasn't necessarily years and years ago. Probably was when I started or whatever. Yeah, it can be very intimidating, and it doesn't need to. And also, you know, production costs and equipment and stuff like that. What, you don't necessarily have to start there, but you can certainly work your way up to there. Why, you know, run before you can walk? Hell, you don't even know if you can stand. You don't even know if you'll be on her in a year. You don't, you know, maybe people like the idea of, you know, having a YouTube channel, but I don't know, maybe the work, the commitment, or maybe it would just grow thin on them. So, you know, like, I don't get this, you know, like if you're gonna, you know, start playing golf, you don't run out and get a 15 grand set of clubs, do you? That's a really bad analogy, but you know what I mean. But anyway, I'll get there at the end. Disclaimers, there is no right or wrong way. There really isn't. This is, I'm sure this is going to piss people off and stuff like that. It's not intended to. This is just my thoughts as a YouTuber on what I believe and how I make videos. Now, again, it can be intimidating, but there are a whole host of people out there that have amazing production values, and you know, and they look like TV, and their editing skills are fantastic, and obviously they are talented tubers. That's what comes into it as well. And maybe they want this to be their career, or maybe they just really want stuff to, you know, be polished. But you got to remember, that's not for everyone. Some people don't. I certainly don't want to do that. I like to think I bring a reasonable level here, but I certainly don't want to do that. I don't want it to look shit, but I don't want to be famous. I don't want a career out of this. I don't advertise. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. My point being, you know, that is not the standard. That is not the standard. That, you know, that you shouldn't, if you're thinking of starting a channel, think that everything must, you know, match to that. However, you know, if you know, start doing this and you start liking it and you start getting the groove of it and you start getting popular and stuff like that, then obviously you can work your way up. It's like anything, you know. I like to think I got a nice car now. Never used to have a nice car. You know, insurance was so expensive when I started driving in '93. Fuck, I'm old. It's even more expensive now. That I started at the bottom and worked my way up bangers to get a no claims bonus, and then bought myself a nice car, or a few nice cars along the way. Anyway, excuse me. By the way, Exotic Mango Diet Coke, fucking amazeballs. Sounds gross, try it. I don't know where the Coke ends or the Exotic Mango begins. But anyway, right, so starting a channel, and then something else, which is, you know, you can have the best production in the world, you can have amazing 1080p cameras, you can have boom mics and stuff like that, green screen, and again, there's nothing wrong with wanting to bring a level of professionality to your channel, even if it's a hobby. But you can have all the amazing equipment in the world, but if you just don't have something that equates to those watching you or your audience, it doesn't matter. I know people say this all the time, you can spray as much glitter as you want on a turd, but at the end of the day, all you've got is a shiny turd. YouTube isn't for everyone, and something else I said that causes people to go mental at me, which is, you don't get to decide who's popular, that's up to your audience. It's not, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. You know, that's not how it works, and that's not just social media, that's life, unfortunately. Otherwise, we'd live in fucking unicorn land, wouldn't we? And everything would be perfect. Anyway, right, so waffling. So my point being, production, yeah, it's nice. You know, maybe people tune in, as I found out with that video, and say, this 480 in 2018 or whatever, like, what? You know, yeah, but that's... Production also is determined by, you know, how much, you know, how well off you are, you know, your commitments. You can have a really good job, but if you got kids, you know, and have to put a roof over your head and feed them and stuff like that, then production becomes second plate. Does that mean you're not, you shouldn't be on YouTube because you can't hit these HD dizzying heights? No. Like I said, people seem to take social media and have a different comparative mindset to it, you know, than they do the rest of life, like I said, cars and houses and stuff like that. But no, you can have anything you want. It's about, I don't know, I guess having an idea, being confident, just wanting to do it, and having a passion are ultimately worth more than production. Now I've got that out of the way, that really weird tandem of a waffle. What do I think on HD? I do HD from time to time. Whether it's true HD, I don't know. Maybe someone can answer that in Techland, because I use Windows Movie Maker. Again, I use the bare minimums, you know. I have a capture card, but I use it for capturing old school VHS, such as the original unmolested Star Wars trilogy, and putting it to DVD. I could use it, you know, on my channel. Would it get me more viewers? Maybe production does get more viewers, I don't know, but I make my videos what I'm comfortable with, and that works for me. But from time to time I do HD videos. Now, how I make my videos is simple. I have this camera. I'm sure many people know this, well, most people get a degree watching it. I have this camera, only this camera is an old camera, and that camera is a replacement camera, which is basically the model behind this, but I wanted to show you it. Flip that, watch TV, line it up, zoom in, zoom out, turn it from auto focus when it's focused on the screen to manual focus, and that way you don't get that god-awful light glare in and out and bleed, and then it has to refocus when colours, you know, or screens changes on your TV. And I film the TV. I don't use software. I crop it with my the zoom function. I'm fortunate enough to have a really good, how should I say this, ratio from TV to stand for the camera, which allows me to do that. I had to play around with it, stick a Blade Runner book underneath my TV to get it to the right level. But what I'm saying is, you know, works for me. You know, it didn't cost millions of pounds, it works for me. Then I film it. Then I put it into Windows, I'm talking about my gameplay videos here, put it into Windows Movie Maker, slap on an intro, cut it out. If it's a vlog, I'll edit it and stuff like that, but we'll get to that. But yeah, and then I go to, you know, run it, because again, I think Windows Movie Maker is brilliant. I could probably benefit from better software, but I'm broke and I'm a little bit intimidated. That's something else. Do you want to have to learn all this stuff? I'm intimidated by learning stuff, you know, I fear change. Yeah, so anyway, I put it for Windows Movie Maker, and then there were two settings, and then people always lambasted me out over the years, and I always have have done, which is if you set it to process to computer, you get 480p, which to me, what's that, regular TV? That's fine. I mean, I can watch something in 480p. Does it have to be HD? To me, no. But then if you set it, and that obviously means it processes quite quickly. Obviously, filming on a camera in HD means once you put it into Windows Movie Maker, it then has to process, you know, the way I do it, into Movie Maker, which can take anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes for a 10-minute video. Something else that affects the way I produce videos is time. I don't have all the time in the world, contrary to popular belief. And then I'll set it, if I want to, I'll set it to, well, more often than not now I do, and I've started doing it on my vlogs as well, but didn't used to, because we'll get to that in a minute. I'll set it to, there's an option in Movie Maker that says make it for YouTube, and I did this once years ago, and that's when I started doing gameplay videos, not all gameplay videos, to, you know, set it to YouTube, and it takes ages, because that's another thing, my computer is shit, it's a 5-year-old laptop, it chugs and chugs and chugs along. The reason until recently my vlogs weren't in HD was it couldn't handle them on what I shot them on, which wasn't a camera. Anyway, set it to YouTube, it makes the video, it takes absolutely ages, but for some reason then when you upload it to YouTube, YouTube recognises it as a 720 video and marks it as HD. Is it HD? I personally don't know. I don't think it is. I don't know. I don't know the tech or specs involved. It looks the same to me, but apparently that's HD and that stops people moaning at me. But yeah, so that's how I do my gameplay videos. However, then stuff going sort of 16-bit backwards, well, beneath 16-bit, if it's 8-bit, and it's the NES and Master System, I've started doing those like that, in that format file, you know, YouTube file type, in Windows Movie Maker. But if it's the ZX Spectrum, why would I make the ZX Spectrum HD? I mean, it's a 35-year-old computer that's monochromic and very pixelated. You know, again, you can put it in HD, but there's only so much you can polish a turd. It's still a turd. Spectrum isn't a turd, by the way. It's the most amazing machine in the world, as you know if you watch this channel. But the point being, I don't see the point to have, you know, yay, this is in 1080 or like it's 720, woo, but it's a Spectrum video. How good is it going to look in 720? It's going to look like a Spectrum. It's not going to improve it. So again, you know, the choices I make are, everything doesn't have to be in HD, and the majority of my stuff still isn't. I've only just started recently trying to do it. If that mode in Windows Movie Maker, I told you I was going to waffle, is true HD. I don't know. If it's not, hey, I'm still going to carry on doing it. So that's how I do my gameplay videos. When I do my vlogs, or I used to do my vlogs, I used to use my camera. It's a pretty camera phone, sorry. Camera phone, my fucking Samsung. It's a pay-as-you, not pay-as-you, it's a contract phone. So it's a pretty good one. It's a, what's it, a J6 2017 or something. So it has a decent 5 megapixels front camera, whatever on the back. But when I do vlogs, I always set the front picture so I can see it, and I vlog on this because it, at least when I look at it on the phone or load it into the computer, it looks really, 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 really nice. I'm assuming it's in HD, doesn't say anywhere on the phone. But when I try and run that through, this is again things that limit whether what your production value should be, which is what a point of while saying how I make videos. I want to get at. You know, it's easy to say that everyone else does it like this, but you may not be able to. So when I run it through my computer, and I've left it for an hour and come back, it simply, for some reason, cannot process video on this camera, this phone, I'll get there in a minute, into that, whatever that 720 YouTube mode is in Movie Maker. It cannot, absolutely cannot. So, you know, when I used this before I went back to using cameras for vlogging, oh, I forgot about that, I'll get back to that. You know, people were like, why is this 420? That's because that's the limitations of my hardware, you know. But I used to do vlogs with this camera, and the reason that I have two is this, look how knackered it is. I had it from 2011 and it died like 18 months or maybe 2 years ago, and that's why I kept my eye out for another one, because it's what works for you, it's what comfortable, and it was brilliant. When I did vlogs with this, I used to think because there were less colours or less light when you did filmed gameplays, and that's why I could put it into 720, or when I say 720, again, Movie Maker's YouTube mode. But then I tried it on this for once, and this shoots in HD. I think it shoots in 720. It's a 5-year-old camera. Well, that one's even older. This can process. It takes ages and it grinds my laptop, but it can process it and get it into what YouTube recognises as HD. So that's why my vlogs are coming like that again. And the reason they start like that but went away like that, again, this is life getting into it, was this camera died and I could not find a replacement. So when I did find a replacement that worked for me, because I could crop it the same way, zooming in, zooming out, again, I don't do capture cards, I'm going to sound like such a fucking stamp collector hobbyist right now. But that's good, because this is how I make it, and I'm proud of my YouTube channel. I had to buy an SD camera. And so I kind of got along the way and forgot. And then when I got, because this is my first contract phone, believe it or not, really. And then I thought, hey, I can use this. That's when I started using this. And then couldn't process it into that, again, waffling, I apologise, HD format. But then I got this replacement camera and I could again. So I'm going to try, but it's, if the camera dies, touch wood, it won't. Then I'll go back to 480 or whatever. But I'm going to try and carry on, doing it as I do now. At least YouTube seems to think it's HD. And if it isn't, it isn't. But people seem to recognise it as that. But yeah, that's how I make videos. It's really winging it by the seat of your pants. It's proper low tech stuff. But again, this is the point I want to make. I've been here for 7 years. Would I be far more popular? First of all, I don't care about that. I'm here because I fucking love it, and I love the meeting people. The conversations we have in my comment sections and stuff like that. The making friends. That's why I do it. I don't want to be popular, but I'm saying that because if I had super polished technology, would I be more popular? Would I have more subscribers? I don't honestly know. I'd like to think that people watch for me and don't just, turn off when they just go, oh, low tech boy, low tech boy. But the point being, it doesn't matter what, and I really want to stress this and get it across. It doesn't matter what your quality is, whatever it takes you to be able to make a video. And then if people watch it, then ultimately you've achieved it, regardless of, people out there who say this is rubbish, I don't like it, it should be in this, it should be in that. If people watch it, then end game is achieved. That's not, quality doesn't necessarily come into that. It's getting yourself across. Quality and production are nice, and as I said, if it works for you, then work your way up. Not for me, but work your way up. But make sure you can walk before you run. This is kind of a weird video, and I hope this has got across to the person who asked the question what I'm trying to get across here, which is it's not all necessarily bells and whistles, To the people out there who do that, that's brilliant, I think it's amazing. I watch some of these channels and I think, holy cow, this is TV, and that's fantastic, and it's to the person's credit, and it's, well done. But that's not for everyone. I myself don't have, the patience to do it, or necessarily the tech skills, or even the software values, as I say, to do it. But nor am I necessarily interested in that, because this is a hobby and I just want to get across my love of things, and whatever works for me works for me. So I hope that answers your question, which is how I make videos. That sounds really rough and ready, but it's got me this far. It's got me, friends and an audience and people to talk to. So surely that means it's worked. And so yeah, production to me it's nice, but it's not the be-all and end-all. Maybe it is if you want to do this for a living or be famous, but I don't, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. That's just not for me. So production is nice, but it's not necessarily key, and that's how I make my videos. And hopefully by explaining how creaky the way I do it is, people, I don't know why I've inspired people to make YouTube channels, but it's very humbling. But maybe that'll make people realise that, hey, I can do that. As always, finally the heating kicked in. As always, I know this was a weird one. I'd love to know what you think, and thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later.